Found anything yet?
Nope.
Yeah, we've been walking around for like 30 minutes. All we see is just a bunch of mansions and stupid crap all day.
Can you shut up?
Shut up.
Shut up.
Do you see that?
The Yo-Ho's?
Isn't it beautiful?
It's a fucking outhouse.
Yeah, but this is exactly what we're looking for. Can I go in it?
Whoever the fuck you want.
Yes!
She was looking kind of dumb with her finger and her thumb in the shape of an L on her forehead.
It's beautiful.
Well, the years start coming and they don't stop coming. Fed to the rules and I hit the ground running. Didn't make sense not to live for fun.
Ah, summer. One of the best and worst times being a gamer. On the bright side, you have all the time in the free world to catch up on some games you may have missed, or maybe you want to catch up on a franchise to prepare for its sequel this holiday season, Metal Gear hint hint. On the other hand, no games come out in the summer. While you should be spending all of your time playing The Witcher 3, it's nice to play some new games, so that's why we keep our eyes open for every single indie game released during July and August. Released near the beginning of the month for PS4, although it was released for the PC almost a year ago, we have Whispering Willows, a 2D adventure game published by Nightlight Interactive. So is Whispering Willows a worthy indie game to play through during the summer drought, or should you just stick to The Witcher? Whispering Willows' premise is pretty straightforward. You are a young girl named Elena. After your dad's been missing for quite some time, you have a dream that tells you an evil spirit has captured him in an abandoned mansion. So in the middle of the night, you sneak out and decide to investigate the mansion on your own. Without going further into the story, the rest of the plot takes some very predictable twists and turns. While the ending was interesting, there were no memorable story beats throughout the game that made me care about the ending as much as the game wanted me to. Plot-wise, the only thing that happens between the beginning and the end of the game is Elena helping every ghost she comes across to solve everyday problems. How does this work? Well, Elena happens to have a unique amulet that lets her spirit turn into a ghost so she can communicate with other ghosts. The ghosts do have interesting backstories about how they wound up dead and what they were doing beforehand, but the way the stories, as well as the main stories presented, is about as uninteresting as it gets. Throughout the game, when the ghosts aren't having one-sentence conversations with you, you read notes that you find throughout your journey. While I did find Elena's diary entries interesting, there are so many notes I think I spent more time reading than I was playing. I would say skip the notes, but they are the only way to understand what's going on. I had to force myself to care about the game's story, and by doing that, I didn't enjoy my time nearly as much as I wish I did. While the story may be interesting, the way in which it was presented didn't make me care about the story at all. The game's hand-drawn art style was pretty and simple, almost too simple for its own good, and this certainly shows in the game's cutscenes. It's also very inconsistent. The inside of houses and mansions are brimming with detail, and I found myself stopping every now and then to really soak in everything there is to see. I especially like the bathrooms. But when you're anywhere else, it's lifeless, pun intended, and boring. I feel like I'm seeing the same things over and over again, which is just one of the reasons I get lost all the time. The game only feels like it has two color palettes, blue for outside and orange for inside. I didn't expect much else, but it gets very annoying when you can't distinguish one section of the world with another. The game is described as an adventure horror game, but it was only horror for the first 50 minutes when you didn't know how the game works. The very beginning of the game took place in one of the scariest places you could imagine, catacombs. And I was genuinely scared with what was happening, and there was one moment in particular that really shook me. The second you leave the catacombs though, the game was never horror after that, not even close to it. It just turned into an adventure game with no sense of atmosphere. If the rest of the game was as atmospheric as the first 15 minutes, the game would be much more memorable. The only thing keeping the atmosphere is the well-made score with its pianos and haunting long notes, because let's face it, those ghosts are not keeping the tension. Whispering Willows is a side-scrolling adventure/puzzle game, and it's as primitive as adventure puzzle games get, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Because every ghost has a favor that you need to complete, your time is spent exploring the world looking for whatever they need. These missions could be as random as finding 3 flowers, or to find the bones of a specific dead person. These puzzles are usually pretty simple, almost too simple in fact, but in the first half of the game I found myself enjoying the puzzle's simplicity because I could spend more time admiring the atmosphere and the story, but then I realized I unfortunately didn't care that much. But when I was exploring, I did admire Elena's commentary over what she saw. Sometimes I forget she's a little girl. The way she views the world, the situation she's in, reminded me of how different the setup is compared to other games. Probably my favorite thing about the game is the very underutilized mechanic to switch into your ghost form to solve puzzles. Your medallion lights up and trembles whenever it's needed to complete the puzzle. While it may sound like the game is holding your hand a bit too much, I liked how you never had to guess when to be in ghost form. That way you're not stuck for some stupid reason like in other puzzle adventure games. In some ways, the game does have challenge, but not the right kind. It is absolutely confusing figuring out where everything is in this game. Even after beating the game, I still can't figure out which doors lead to which places. I was constantly getting lost throughout the game because the way the world is built and the ways you get there sometimes don't make sense. The game took me around 5 hours to complete, but because of all the backtracking and familiar settings, it felt much longer. There's no replay value, which is totally understandable because this is a narrative-driven game. Whispering Willows had a lot going for it. A unique art design, an intriguing setup, and a chance to really get you uncomfortable with its spooky atmosphere. Sadly, it's a boring puzzle game with no reason or motivation to be played through. The story did not captivate me, the gameplay is unoriginal and tedious, and the game's atmosphere did not stay for long. If you think this game is for you, then take a whack at it. For $10, if this game has your interest, then consider it. You might enjoy and appreciate the story more than I did. To everyone else, just know that you're not missing much. Whispering Willows receives a 5 out of 10. Thank you for watching and stay fresh, everyone.
Let's get that V out. Get out. Get your dick out. Get out. Get out. He's pissing me off. It's scaring me.
Just go.
It's a bee.
It's a bee.
I know.
That doesn't even sting.
We don't know.